The 2023 Ram TRX is a better truck than the 2023 F-150 Raptor. That's a hard one for me to say. What's going on, YouTube? What I said at the beginning, I stand by. I'm actually gonna repeat it for you in maybe a way that has a little bit more impact, like a way that you'll really understand. The 2023 TRX is a better all-around truck than the 2023 Raptor and Raptor R. This is my 7th Raptor. I've had 3 Gen 1s, 2 Gen 2s, and now 2 Gen 3s. So who better to give their opinion on the most hated vehicle for a Raptor owner in the world? It's a really good truck, like really good. Like a little too good. Like I almost don't want to sell it, but I am. The good starts with the motor. The Hell truck, the TRX, probably the best powertrain ever shoved into a commercially made pickup truck. From the factory, 702 horsepower. The HELLCAT Hemi is such a solid motor, and it's not going to be produced anymore after the end of next year. I've never owned anything Mopar. I've never owned anything with a HELLCAT engine in it. It's so good. There's so much download torque, but there's also so much power on the top end. There's also just so much supercharger whine in this thing, which I didn't get in the GT500 or the Raptor R, and it's either love or hate thing. Like some people hate supercharger whine, some people love it. I'm in the love it category. Like nothing makes me happier than just hearing the like, wah, wah. Another thing in the good category is this interior. This interior is phenomenal, and I will hands down give the crown for the best interior on a pickup truck to Ram. I think they got Ford beat. I think it's a little bit more gimmicky. You have like the rear view mirror that turns into a screen. You have the heads-up display, which I actually really do enjoy having a heads-up display. It's like hard for me to live without one now. But I will say the quality, the materials, the stitching, the carbon fiber, everything in here just feels a little bit above Ford. It feels a little bit more thought out. Now I will say it's a lot more crammed in here. In the Ford, you have a lot more just like open space, where in here, everything's kind of built around you. We have a smaller windscreen, smaller windshields. In the Ford, we have a little dive in the door, so it feels a lot more open when you're in the F-150. The Ram does feel a lot more claustrophobic, but I will give it to Ram. It's better sound system, it's better leather quality. The seats are more comfortable. The AC seats actually do something. The rear seats have AC, which is the first car I've ever had to do that. The back seats recline a little bit. There's little boxes under the floor in the back to store like cooler stuff where you have drain plugs. There's just a lot more thought, I think, went into the Ram interior than the F-150. So I'll give Ram that. I think out of all the pickup trucks right now, Ram's got the nicest interior, hands down. Another good for me on this is just the visual looks of it. Like, yes, the Havoc is extra badass because it's all one color and you get the black skid plate and the black wheels and everything's just color matched, but I think I like the look of the TRX more than I like the Raptor. I know this is 100% opinionated and definitely up for debate, but I just think it's a little bit wider and beefier. The Raptor, I think, looks a little bit more sophisticated, but this just looks bigger. I think on paper, they're the same width, same height, same everything. But when I look at this truck, I just think it looks more like a true off-road. You know when guys do like the full built-out Silverado 1500s with the wide body fenders and stuff? That's what this reminds me of. Where the Raptor looks like Ford engineered an off-road vehicle, this looks like someone took a 1500 and just built it into a Baja truck. And the final point I'm gonna put in the good category for the TRX is actually the suspension, which every Raptor owner right off the bat is like, it's a fucking bullshit truck, it can't jump, ha ha ha. Okay, yes, but most of you guys aren't buying $100,000 trucks and actually jumping them. The Bilstein suspension on this truck, while yes, it is nowhere near the level of a Gen 3 Raptor's Fox suspension, it actually, I think, handles better on road. I haven't driven the truck off-road, like I said before, but on road, it's a little bit smoother, it's a little bit more forgiving, and the truck just feels a little bit more stable. When I drive the Raptors, I'm a little bit more all over the road, where the TRX just feels more like I'm driving a car, if that makes sense. I still have no doubt about the suspension. I can still pop curbs and jump through a ditch and go off-road at 50 miles an hour and come back off the road. I would have no concerns doing that in this truck. I don't know if I trust these shocks if I was going to do 1,000 miles in Baja, but we're not doing 1,000 miles in Baja. So on the road and for very light off-roading, I think I like the TRX's suspension better. It looks like a dune buggy, but then you get in it and this is super comfortable, super livable truck. The whole interior and driving part of this truck, I think, seals it for me. Like, this is a fantastic truck. All right, the bad, and there is some bad. First off, gas. The gas mileage in this thing is actually ridiculous. I fill this truck up every other day at $120 a day with the current gas prices, thanks to sleepy little Joe. So I am spending right around $1,000 a month in gas daily driving this truck. I do drive a lot, but you can expect to get about 7 to 6 miles a gallon if you're driving it the way that it wants to be driven. If you're doing your best to get the best gas mileage you can out of it, maybe you can see like 11 or 12 miles a gallon. I think even on the freeway, I'm lucky to see 12 is the highest I've ever seen it go. Over the course of 5,000 miles, my average is 9.2. So you can expect to fill this thing up non-stop. If you are looking to save money on gas, this is a terrible daily driver. But I think you go into this knowing that it's bad. And the reason that I'm putting this in the bad and not the ugly category, which is like the truly fucked up category, you know what you're getting going into it. If you're buying a supercharged V8 6,000-pound truck, whether it's the Raptor R or it's this or the new Chevy, you're not going to get good gas mileage. Like, V8 supercharged and truck aren't synonymous with great gas mileage, so I really can't say it's a terrible thing about the TRX, but I will say that it's pretty bad in the TRX. You're not saving any polar bears driving this thing. You are definitely pissing Greta Thunberg off every time you start this thing in the garage. And that brings me to the next bad point, and that is that this truck is $106,000 MSRP. So this is a TRX Havoc edition, and in the Havoc edition you get yellow paint, yellow stitching, a little plaque right here that says Havoc. You get all black bead locks, which you can only get with a special edition, otherwise you get like a silver and gray combo. And then also, oh my god, the turning radius, throw that in the bad list. You also can get the truck in one singular color, so there's no other way besides getting it in black or one of the special edition colors that you can get the whole truck one color. Otherwise you get that like black sides all the way around, whatever you want to call it, the duotone, whatever. That's about it. This package is about $10,000 more than a non-Havoc. So you're paying about $10,000 for the color and the limited edition paint. That puts this truck at $106,000. A fully loaded TRX without the Havoc edition paint would have been right around $96,000. And if you don't need all the bells and whistles, you can actually get these trucks down to like 84, 85, but they keep doing these hikes. I think when they came out, they were like 68, and then they went to 78, and then they went to 80. They keep going up. At $106,000, yes, it is the ultimate thing on the road, in my opinion, but it's not worth $106,000. I'm okay paying that because I know it's going to hold its value, but it's a little hard to justify the price tag on this thing. It's not terrible. When you factor that like an F-150 Platinum is probably in the 80s at this point. The Raptor R is 110 plus the markup, you're looking at 150. So it actually doesn't seem like too bad of a deal. But initially this was in competition with the Raptor, and the Raptor was at 76, and this was right there with it. And then this has kind of kept scaling up to fight with the Raptor R at this point, but they haven't done anything to it performance-wise. Like, yes, the 2023 is the most refined version yet, and we got a heads-up display and a digital cluster and yada, yada, yada. But they haven't actually done anything to the truck to make it worth more. They just keep upping the price. And now it's getting to a point where now they're really competing with the Raptor R, but I don't know if this truck really does compete with the Raptor. I think it kind of competes more with the base Raptor. The ugly, and it's ugly, Uconnect. I've heard how bad FCA's infotainment center control system is, but I assumed it wasn't that bad. I assumed it would be like Android level. Like if Ford is the iOS of the car world, I assumed Ram would be the Android. It's the worst system I've ever used in my life, with one caveat. Apple CarPlay takes up the whole vertical screen and basically turns it into an iPad. And at that point, very nice. But if you have to use any part of this infotainment center, it disconnects my phone every 5 minutes. It randomly just goes black. Sometimes I have to reset, I have to factory reset the whole system. I get notifications about subscriptions non-stop. Like if I say I don't want a subscription, stop fucking asking me if I want a subscription. The button presses don't really work. If you touch the screen too early from starting the truck, like if I get in it and I start it and then I try to fuck with the screen, I freeze it up for like 10 seconds. There's no way to just put the truck into sport mode without the screen. There's actually a TRX button and I assumed by clicking it, I could get to sport mode. No, it just takes you to the screen that gives you the option to tap sport mode, but sometimes you can't tap it and sometimes nothing happens when you click the TRX button. It is genuinely the shittiest infotainment system I've ever used in the history of cars. That's really the only ugly I have. That's the only thing about this truck that I have come to hate. Everything else, it's a wonderful truck. I have no problems with this thing. It's great. I actually like had a hard time coming up with like what was going to be the big major issue that I didn't like. And that was it. That it ended up being the infotainment center. Unfortunately, I will be selling this truck. And I know a lot of you guys are probably like, Joe, why are you selling the truck that you said is better than the Raptor R for the Raptor R? And that's an answer that I'll give you in the next video when I show you my new Raptor R. But this is actually a truck that I am going to dearly miss, and I will probably be in another TRX in the future. And I almost feel, in hindsight, a little bit of an asshole, because when I bought my other Raptor, I made a joke saying that like, oh, my credit score is too high to own a TRX. I tried to buy the TRX. I submitted my credit app to Dodge, and they came back to me and they were like, hey, your credit is too high for you to own a Dodge. I've always talked shit about the TRX. I've never liked the TRX, but I've also never driven a TRX. And I think a lot of us Raptor guys are in that same boat. Having owned this after owning so many Raptors, I don't want to say that one's better than the other, but I will say this is every bit as good as a Raptor. And if you have a problem with that, feel free to comment down below. But I promise you, if you actually own one of these and you drive it, it's really hard to say the Raptor's so much better. Like I would have a really hard time telling somebody the TRX is a bad truck. It's really not. It actually, in my opinion, I think as a whole package, unless you were doing the Baja 1000, this is a better truck. On-road, maybe even off-road. People are going to lose their fucking shit about that, but it is what it is. 107 degrees is no joke. Like this is, it's funny that I'm going to complain about how hot it is while I'm driving a truck that's not helping. But if you would, hit the like button, comment down below what you think about my opinions on the TRX. Smash the subscribe button. I'm trying to go to 250,000 subs. That's my new goal. Before I retire from YouTube, which could be any fucking day now, I would like to hit 250,000 subs. And also, when this video hits that amount of likes, I will drop the Raptor R video because I'm going to start filming it tomorrow because I got some other stuff coming and I gotta get some stuff done. So thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. I'm going to go enjoy my TRX for the last day I have it.